And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Okay, as the bumper said, welcome to the marine forecast. First off here, we'll show today's map again. Low pressure still hanging nearly stationary southwest of St. Lawrence Island, slowly weakening, still kept at diminishing winds here. Still low gusty at Nome today. Bethel earlier had gusts 30 miles an hour out of the south, and this occasionally spinning bands of moisture into the western interior, bringing some showers and light rain with it. A break here across the Pribilofs down to the eastern Aleutians. Then some moisture, the couple of week troughs spreading some IFR type moisture, light rain, fog, and drizzle, mainly into the central Aleutians. And then showers and some clearing here across much of southern Alaska, working up into the Tanana Valley. And storm here off the south coast of the Panhandle, bringing gale force winds along the central and south coast today. And gusts as high as 45 miles an hour in some areas there, Heidelberg around that, and some of the islands there over the southern inside waters, with anywhere from a quarter to half an inch of rain falling so far. Tonight that'll weaken into a trough as it moves into western Canada. The low weakens and hangs off the coast, so rain changing to showers, winds really coming down this evening and tonight. Another low brings more rain into Bristol Bay. This low stays southwest of St. Lawrence Island, continues to weaken. Showers and thunderstorms scattered around much of interior Alaska. And for Wednesday, that holds as well, with showers, wet conditions, cloudy skies. Temperatures in the 60s here, southern Alaska, 70s, with still some lower 80s up over the Yukon Flats possible, but definitely cooler, wetter conditions into the upper Tanana Valley 40-mile country, as well as up across the Koyukuk-Kobuk valleys. Not much going on out over the Bering Sea, and still showery and cloudy for the Panhandle. South winds, 15 to 25 knots, or south to southeast winds, 15 to 25 for the south coast. Central coast, southerlies around 20 knots, and then east winds 20 to 25 knots for the north coast. Southeast 15 for Lynn Canal, and for Stevens Passage, southeast winds at 10 knots, southeast 15 for Clarence Strait. Outlook for Wednesday, south winds 15 knots on the south coast, southeast on the central coast at the same speed. East winds 15 to 25 knots on the north coast with seas 6 to 7 feet. Southeast winds over the central and northern inner channels and waters with southeast winds 20 knots for Clarence Strait with seas at about 4 feet. Prince William Sound, variable to west winds tomorrow at 10 knots, pretty light there. South to southwest winds, also on the light side for Cook Inlet. Westerlies 15 to 20 knots, Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands. West-southwest 15 to 20 knots for the North Gulf Coast. And for Wednesday, light variable winds, 10 knots, Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay, the North Gulf Coast, and Prince William Sound, and Cook Inlet as well. Kodiak Island tomorrow, light southwest breeze at 15 knots. Alaska Peninsula, west-southwest at 20, east at 10 for Bristol Bay. And then for Wednesday, Alaska Peninsula, mostly westerly at 20 knots, same thing for Bristol Bay, seas at about 4 feet. And Kodiak Island, west winds 15 knots, seas 5 feet. The Aleutians tomorrow, the entire Aleutian chain, west winds 20 knots, seas running 5 to 7 feet. And then for Wednesday, west-southwest 15 to 20 knots for the western Aleutians. Otherwise from Adak here all the way to Unalaska Island, winds will be west at 20 knots. For the southwest coast tomorrow, south to southeast winds at 15 knots, southeast 20 knots for St. Lawrence Island, west 20 for the Pribilofs, and west winds of 15 knots for St. Matthew Island. For Wednesday, pretty light winds now, northern Bering Sea, Norton Sound, all at about 10 knots from varying directions up there. West winds of 15 knots for St. Matthew Island, southwest 15 for the Pribilofs, and the Kuskokwim Delta coast, west winds at 15 knots. And some small craft advisories now along the Arctic coast tomorrow for northeast winds up to 25 knots, seas around 5 feet. And Chukchi Sea, kind of variable, 10 to 20 knots from varying directions there. And then more northwest on Wednesday for the Chukchi Sea at 15 knots, central, western, eastern Arctic coast, all out of the northeast at 15 to 20 knots.